There comes a moment in every season when a fan base feels the ground shift beneath them. A moment when hope, real hope, doesn't whisper, it roars. And right now, in Atlanta, that moment has arrived. For weeks, people outside this city have laughed, dismissed, and buried this team. But behind the closed doors of Flowery Branch, something powerful is taking shape quietly, steadily, and with the force of a storm preparing to break. And the truth is simple: the Atlanta Falcons are not who the world thinks they are. A fire is building. A truth is emerging. And it's time everyone sees it. The first warning shot didn't come from a headline or a drama-filled press conference. It came from the field, where one young star has begun carving his name into the league's history with every snap, every cut, every impossible yard gained through pure will. 132.4 scrimmage yards per game. Say it slowly. Let it settle like a weight on the chest. That isn't good. That isn't impressive. That is historic. Only one player in the entire NFL has more yards from scrimmage, and he's played more games. That means what we're watching, what Atlanta is witnessing, is the rise of a complete offensive force, a weapon capable of changing the identity of this franchise. Fifth in rushing. Second among running backs in receiving. A two-headed threat wrapped inside one player. This is not just a running back. This is the engine of an offense fighting to redefine itself. And maybe the best part? He never asked for attention. Never begged for validation. While people debated his draft value and questioned the pick, he simply lined up and delivered masterpiece after masterpiece. No noise. No excuses. Just greatness. But the story of this season isn't carried by one man. Because even on the sideline, one of Atlanta's most lethal talents continues to loom over every defense in the league. A PCL injury has kept him out, but somehow, he still leads the team in every major receiving category: 60 catches, 810 yards, 6 touchdowns. Only 9 games. Numbers that shouldn't even be possible with 2 weeks missed, yet here they stand, a reminder that when he returns, Atlanta's offense becomes an entirely different beast. Here's the part that shocks even seasoned analysts: his receiving yards alone are higher than the combined total of every other Falcons wide receiver. One man. Carrying an entire aerial attack. And making it look effortless. Yes, losing him again this week hurts. Yes, facing Seattle without him feels like climbing a mountain with no rope. But this is the turning point, the moment where a team decides what kind of story it wants to write. A season defined by setbacks? Or a season sparked by the players who refuse to quit? Because deep behind the losses, beneath the noise, and beyond the doubters, Atlanta is changing. Growing. Sharpening. Something is coming. Something that no one outside of this city is prepared for. And this is only the beginning. Adversity has a way of stripping a team down to its bones. In moments like this, when your top playmaker is sidelined and the offense is searching for answers, you learn what a team truly is. Some squads break. Some hide. But others quietly evolve. And while the spotlight keeps drifting toward Atlanta's offensive wounds, something fierce, disciplined, and absolutely electrifying is unfolding on the other side of the ball. A transformation. A rebellion. A defense tired of being overlooked. It begins with the corner no one talks about because quarterbacks refuse to test him. Only 35 targets in 13 weeks. That number doesn't lie. It screams. It says offensive coordinators have watched the film and made their choice, anywhere but him. Number 1 in the NFC in receptions allowed. Number 1 in yards allowed. Just 0.6 yards per coverage snap, a number so suffocating it barely makes sense. This isn't a solid season. This isn't good coverage. This is the blueprint of a true shutdown corner. A player commanding respect without demanding it. A player who should already be in Pro Bowl conversations, standing shoulder to shoulder with Atlanta's star running back as one of the few bright sparks in a cloudy year. But his impact bleeds beyond the field. When he was announced as the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, it felt right. This is a man who doesn't just show up on Sundays. He shows up everywhere, lifting people, serving his community, leading with humility and purpose. He said, "I put in so much work this offseason, but this is what it's all about right here." You could hear it in his voice. Pride. Responsibility. The sound of a leader who understands the weight of the jersey he wears. But the heartbeat of this story? The part that should make every Falcons fan sit up straight? It's the rise of two young pass rushers who are rewriting the identity of this franchise. Both first-round rookies. Both tied for the league lead among all rookies with 5 sacks each. And one of them, just a few months removed from college, has stacked sacks in 4 straight games. Only 3 players in the NFL have a streak like that right now: Myles Garrett, Ed Oliver, and a Falcons rookie. Let that sink in. This isn't potential. This isn't give it time. This is happening now. And the connection between the two rookies? Unbelievable. They were drafted to the same position, prime territory for conflict, jealousy, ego. But their relationship became something else entirely. A bond. A push and pull that sharpened both of them. "Ever since we loaded up the jet and landed in Atlanta, that's been my guy," one of them said. That's not ordinary chemistry. That's foundation. That's what championship defenses are built on: players who make each other better instead of fighting for the spotlight. The numbers back it up. Atlanta sits 3rd in the NFL in sacks, with 41, the second highest total through 12 games in team history. The defense isn't cracking. It's rising. It's holding this team together while everything else bends and wobbles. He gave the usual answer: calm words, steady tone, the kind of statement every coach delivers when the cameras are rolling. But the moment he stepped away from the podium, something changed. Because the next man who walked up wasn't interested in protecting feelings. He was interested in telling the truth. A veteran. A captain. A man who's seen what greatness actually looks like. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't point fingers. He simply stared into the lights and said what every frustrated fan had been thinking for weeks: we need to get back to basics. You could feel the entire room shift. This wasn't anger. It wasn't blame. It was a warning. A reminder that special teams isn't supposed to be complicated. It's supposed to be clean, sharp, disciplined. And yet somehow, the simplest part of football had become the one thing dragging this entire team into the mud. Kick coverage collapsing like a sandcastle in the tide. Field goals sailing wide for the first time all season. A muffed punt turning a winnable game into a self-inflicted disaster. This wasn't bad luck. This wasn't a weird bounce of the football. This was a system breaking down in real time. And the captain called it out because somebody had to. He's played in locker rooms where the smallest detail mattered. Where one mistake could cost a championship. Where pressure didn't destroy you, it sharpened you. That's why his words hit like a hammer. Because they came from experience. From truth. From leadership. And leadership is exactly what this team needs right now. Look, nobody is pretending this season has gone the way it was supposed to. Every loss feels heavier. Every mistake feels louder. And every week, the playoff picture slips a little further out of reach. But here's the thing about this fan base: we don't quit. Not when the scoreboard looks ugly. Not when the standings look bleak. Not when the season feels like a test none of us signed up for. We rise. That is what this city was built on. There are 4 games left, 4 final chances to show the league who we really are. 4 chapters waiting to be written. These games might decide the playoff race, or they might become the spark for something bigger coming this offseason. Either way, the story isn't over. Not even close. So keep bringing your voice. Keep bringing your belief. Keep showing this team that they're not fighting alone. Because when this city stands shoulder to shoulder, fans, players, coaches, there's not a single team in this league that wants to face Atlanta. This is our team. Our season. Our fight. And whatever comes next, we rise together. But for every step forward, something else pulls them back. And nothing hit harder than the collapse on special teams last week. 10 points. Handed away. Gift-wrapped disasters: a missed field goal, a muffed punt, kickoff coverage that looked lost and slow. In a game decided by 3 points, those mistakes weren't just errors. They were the difference. And the entire stadium waited for a response, any sign of accountability, fire, or ownership. What came next? Well, that's where this story turns.